Here we go. Okay. So I'm here tonight with Ryan, and Ryan Ridgway is going to be having a chat with me because Ryan is one of our newest Good Salon Guide members. Ryan will tell you a little bit about that, the salon that he is working with and the salon that's joined Good Salon Guide. But the main reason we've got Ryan on tonight is because we have been campaigning for a long time at Good Salon Guide to increase awareness of mental health. As a lot of you know, we have been running mental health first aid courses, and we've now trained, I think, over 100 stylists, barbers and beauticians. Very important to remember that we represent the beauty industry as well. And I do the MHFA training for our members, and it was through being a trainer that I encountered Ryan on my journey, and we've worked a lot together. And I thought it was ironic that when I started chatting to Ryan, we did some training together. He said, what else do you do for work? I said, I work with salons a lot, which was fascinating because he said, perhaps you can help me. I've got involved in the hair salon business, and you know, any help would be welcome. And I immediately suggested the guide to you, didn't I, Ryan? And I said, that's going to be great. And as I learned more about Ryan, I began to understand a little bit more about why he is such a unique and exceptionally successful trainer, in as much as he's very honest about his own mental health journey, as am I, and we share a lot of the same ethos, and we're very passionate about mental health. We have direct experience, both ourselves and within our families, of mental health issues. And so we've done a lot of work together to try and raise the profile. You've done a lot, Ryan. You're now bringing a lot of your knowledge about mental health and how to support staff to being a salon director. And that's really interesting, I think, to our members who are obviously trying to do the same. So obviously, you know, as part of Good Salon Guide's sort of offerings to our members, we thought we'd chat to Ryan, find out about why he's so passionate about mental health, what he's doing to raise funds and the profile of mental health work, and, you know, bring it round to some salon situations as well. So welcome, Ryan.
Thank you. Let me just say thank you for having me on. And I've met very few people in the 5 years I've been teaching mental health support who I feel do it really well and honest, and in a way that people can attend a course and training and go, you know what, I can do that. That's realistic. I can practically apply that. And you are one of those people. So you're leading from the front with this, you know, delivering this stuff for the Good Salon Guide. And I do wholeheartedly mean that. Yeah,
well, that's great. I think we're very similar in what we bring to it. We really try and make, I think the most important thing, and my course delegates who've done the course from the hair industry, we make it accessible and we make it kind of okay to talk about, you know, to be open and honest. And it's not a humorous subject, but you can't approach it with all doom and gloom. You have to see the light and the positivity, and there is humour to be found. And I think when you talk about it like that, it opens it wide up for people to feel relaxed enough to share. And I think we both agree, don't we, Ryan, that when you talk about mental health and you share...
I agree.
Yeah, great. I'm glad you're doing it like that. When you share and you talk about it, you learn a lot more. So Ryan, tell us a little bit about how you got into being, first of all, a trainer, and you know, what brought you into working and sort of becoming quite a champion for, I think we tend to say men's mental health, and that is great because we know there's a dire need there, but I'm keen to obviously make people aware that it's, you know, it's a champion for mental health generally. So tell me a little bit about your background. When did you start getting into it, or was it something that was introduced to you? How did you get into it?
I was 5 years ago now the deputy manager for the NHS 111 service.
Right.
Within that, someone said to me, do you want to be a mental health first aider? And I said, what? What's that? I've done physical first aid for accidents. Is that something we're doing now, mental health first aid? So I did the course that you teach for the Good Salon Guide, and I fell in love with it. Connected the dots for me personally with my own journey. There was that light bulb moment where, that's what I've been struggling with. But sadly, I was using those skills weekly, sometimes daily, compared to the 3 or 4 times I've ever gone to an accident and applied physical first aid. So it showed how many people are struggling with their mental health, don't understand it, and need that level of support. I left there, and I've been horrifically busy teaching mental health support ever since. And I say horrifically because it again shows the demand and the need, and that people really need this this level of understanding about thoughts, feelings, emotions, and how, you know, life's trials can affect your mental health and dip your mood. And there's so much to it. And to unravel all of that and have a greater understanding, and then where to go for help, it's still such a big topic that people don't really know how to approach it, how to talk about it, and where to go if they need help and support.
And I think, you know, the other thing that I talk to the hair community about, and just generally when we talk to other people in other industries, it's great that so many high profile people are jumping on board. And I know you've worked with sort of Gary Neville, and it's great to see royalties starting charities about making it, but it's still got a stigma, and it's still got a big taboo, and there's a lot of prejudice, isn't there? I don't think anybody should think, well, we're nailing it, we're getting there. It's fine to talk about your mental health. People do. There's a massive stigma still, isn't there, which we have to work on.
Yeah, I mean, there's more awareness now.
Yes.
You know, we're getting people come forward and say, this is my journey, you know, I've suffered with this, I'm not ashamed to talk about it. Whereas maybe 30 years ago, if we talked about mental health, it would be associated with asylums and straight jackets and electroshock therapy. But even though we're more willing to talk about it, it's like, what next? I know it's okay not to be okay, but what next?
Well, exactly. And it's knowing that you're going to be in a safe space at work where your boss or your team leader or your line manager will understand that and will support you, and you won't face prejudice, because a lot of people still do, don't they, in the workplace? They'll hide their mental health.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the data shows us that people still will ring in sick to the absence line or their manager, and are more likely to use a physical reason like DMV or a migraine than say, my anxiety is through the roof today. I can't come into work. Because
why do you think they do that, Ryan? Why do you think they feel that they can't say, look, my anxiety is so crippling, I couldn't even drive?
So many different reasons. You know, they might be thought that they considered weak, they might not get the promotion. The person might not have that understanding, and they might react badly. You know, that question and that statement, I can't come in, my anxiety is through the roof. Sometimes people still say, well, what are you worried about? You know, calm down. Or they just misunderstand what that can actually mean for someone and the effect it can have on their world.
So what you're saying there is there needs to be more education.
Absolutely.
So people are acting like this, not out of malice or because they couldn't give a damn, because they don't understand that if you've got anxiety, depression, or another mental illness, it's completely debilitating.
That's it. Yeah, if someone has anxiety, they can't just calm down. You know, if someone has depression, they can't just cheer up. There's more to it. It's that education piece is so badly needed, because, like you say, it's not out of malice. People aren't doing it because they want to cause harm and distress. It's just that lack of understanding. And even if someone is empathetic and wants to listen, you know, even then they might say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, and that person then's like, you know what, I'm not going to have that conversation.
Well, exactly. I really want to touch on that with you, because that's what the courses that we teach is all about, isn't it? It's like fear of helping because I might say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And so what the MHFA courses teach you to do is to have a solid tool set that you're armed, knowing that what you're saying has been proven to work, is the best method to actually approach somebody, and you can feel safe that you certainly, rarely, Ryan, if ever, will a conversation make things worse, will it?
Rarely. Yeah, that's it. You know, just having that conversation, giving the person a safe, non-judgmental space to unravel thoughts, feelings, emotions, and clear their head. As long as that person is willing to listen, you know, not try and fix it, not resolve it. That person's got to piece it together. But you know what? I'm here for you. I want you to talk to me. What are you feeling? What are you going through? Describe it. Let me absolutely give you my full, undivided attention and be that present, conscious, aware listener.
And that's a really good point. If you are going down that road to support a person in your workplace or a family member or a friend, you give 100% of your time and you devote it. It's like so many people half listen or listen with a view to what they're going to jump in and say next.
That's it. Yeah, I'm not listening. I'm just waiting for my turn to talk.
Exactly. And I'm thinking in my head what I'm going to say.
Yeah, how can I fix it? How can I take the pain away? You should do this, you should do that. When actually the fix could be, I'm just going to listen and let you unravel it, get it out, clear your head, let the words hit the air and take away their power. And then at the end, have you thought about going here for help? Have you thought about going there? We build that toolkit of resources for the delegates, so they don't have to have the answer, but they can listen and suggest and signpost.
You give them options. I mean, one thing we say on the course, and it's very important to people who might be supporting someone, is you never give advice.
No.
You give options, you give information, and you give places that they can be supported, maybe professionally, but you listen, and you listen with empathy, don't you? It's not about you. I think in our society, there's a big thing like relating it back to me. You tell me something, I immediately say to you, do you know what, Ryan, when that happened to me, it was absolutely terrible. And you don't want to hear that, do you, when you're down?
No,
really
I've had that.
It's
and that happened
terrible.
To me. It's like, now it's about that other person.
It's undervaluing your personal experience, isn't it? So tell me about then, you know, you got into it as a career and you realised, I mean, we talk a lot about this with our members, post-pandemic, there was an incredible need for more support, and that's not going to go away. So it's taking up a lot of your time, but your own mental health, you've been able to bring things that have happened to you directly, and you've been open about that in the way you teach and the way you support and help people, haven't you?
Absolutely, you've got to. You know, we've all got a lived experience. We've all been through stuff in life.
Yeah.
And if we share that lived experience with, you know, people around us, it might form part of their survival guide. You know, they might realise that, oh, actually, that's how you handled it, and that's how you felt, and that's what you thought. And you realise that actually none of us are alone. No. You know, people struggling with their mental health, they're not, you know, they're not alone. They're not the only person. Actually, it's a majority of people that will struggle with something during their life. I mean, 1 in 4 people every week will struggle with a common mental health issue, and they're the 1 in 4 we know about because they've raised their hand and access to service. So it's probably more like 50%.
Loads more, because shocking. They're not being counted because they haven't, as you say, put their hand up. So I mean, it's so important to actually step forward, and you can only do that if you feel you're going to be supported and the stigma's not there. And I mean, in terms of the workspace, I mean, there's been probably times in your life, there's been times in my life when, you know, if you are so battling with your mental health, you're not able to go to work. But when we can come into work, when we do feel we can, and perhaps we've had some issues, how do you feel now that you're obviously a salon owner, you're in a position as a boss? I mean, and you've obviously got direct experience of working with staff. What do you do to try and make it clear to people that you're there for them if they have potentially, not saying your staff do, but if they have problems with anxiety, we know how common that is. What do you do to make them supported, to make them feel that they can? Because let's make it clear as well, I don't think that with, you know, people seem to think there's a lot of mental illnesses that can be quite severe. It doesn't mean you can't go to work and do an absolutely fabulous job. So what do you do as a salon boss?
We make it a normal, usual conversation. You know, it's not just built into our one-to-ones where we talk about performance, but we actually want to know about how that person's feeling and what's going on in their world outside of the salon, within the salon, and actually make it as normal and usual as saying, you know, how's your physical health? You know, how's your mental health should be exactly the same. So
you ask the question.
That's it. We ask the question. We might not ask it like that. We might say, things I've adopted recently that people are taken aback by at first. I'll say, how are you feeling? And you can't answer with, okay, good, or not bad.
Or fine.
Or fine. And suddenly people are like, okay, how am I actually feeling? It gets them to identify with that emotional state or that mood on a deeper level. So just asking questions like that and having those conversations day in, day out, the staff here feel like it's an important part of what we do. We want them to come into work and thrive because they're creative and enjoy their work. And if you're feeling down or low, or like you're going to be misunderstood because you're struggling with something and have to put that mask on and hide it, you're not going to bring your best self to work. So
you're not. You're not, and the MHFA have a campaign about that, don't they? To be completely open. If you're hiding anything like your sexuality, your religious beliefs, if you feel you have to go to work and actually be somebody you're not going to perform to your best ability at all, because that pressure to wear that mask is overbearing, isn't it? So you encourage an open dialogue, and you actually ask on a daily basis, and you say, how are you feeling, and you can't answer this, and how have you've done this now for a while, because you've been working in the salon for a while, and how have you found that's helped or changed, or what's been the reaction from people?
You know what, it's been so well received. We're blessed with a great team anyway. But the feedback from them is this feels totally different. You know, it's not their employee or a number. They're a part of this legacy, this family, where we're all working together in a collaborative approach to build something great for our clients. And you can feel that energy, right? You know, when you walk into somewhere and there's an atmosphere, you can almost feel it outside in the car park.
It's a good one. And like you can feel a terrible atmosphere. You'll walk in and you can cut it with a knife.
Yeah, that's it. You walk in and you can feel that energy.
Right, positivity.
Positivity, not false positivity, not like, you know, let's all be really upbeat and it's false. No. You know, I'm feeling great and I want to transmit some of that to you and genuinely ask how your day is going. There's that buzz and that vibe because it's genuine, it's honest, it's sincere.
And I think sometimes, you know, when we teach, I obviously now teach and train people in other industries aside from hair. So you sort of get out the loop. And I was working with a group of salon people the other day. And there's something quite unique with salon staff and barbers, in as much as what we've got to remember, and these particular group reminded me of this, is they're not just dealing with their issues or supporting friends and families. They become friends, allies, and kind of supporters to the people in their chair.
Yeah.
And you're talking about, you know, we've got salon owners here who will say, I've had a client for 20, 25 years. Now, you've got to take on as a stylist it's a compliment that they want to open up to you and share. It's the greatest compliment, but it's salons, you know, I had some guys talking to me the other day saying, you know, to listen to some of those stories is tough.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so it's really important salon people take care of their own well-being, isn't it?
Definitely. You can't pour from an empty cup. You know, you've got to make sure you're looking after your own well-being. But like you said about some of the clients, some of our clients have come to us for 20 years. You can imagine the significant life events that person's gone through in 20 years. And some of the things they share, you know, they say, I can't share this with the people closest to me. They're too close. I feel like I'm going to burden them. I'm worried about them. I don't want to, you know, tell a stranger, but you're a stranger that I know. You're my stylist. I know you, but you're not my inner circle. So I can share some of this. It's not going to go anywhere. And I can get in my head. So massive respect to people in the salon world, because they have these conversations day in, day out, and take some of that, you know, on with them.
Totally. And we've just had Jamie, who runs the salon with you, one of the salons, and she said, it's really good to have those conversations. And, you know, I think, as you and I said, because we're not stylists, we're not salon folk, we're just involved in the business, but, you know, huge respect to people who do that in a non-judgmental way, and they listen and they give an ear and they give support. But that's why I think, you know, so many of our members and hairdressers have loved this training that we do at MHFA, because they say, we've always been there. We're good listeners. A lot of salon folk are kind, good people, communicators. That's why they're in the business. It's not just about the ability to do hair. But they say, sometimes I just felt I was getting in too deep and I didn't know what to say. This training that we do gives them a solid structure. So the heat's off a bit. You don't think, God, did I say the right thing? You know. So that's what's so good, because I think genuinely, as you say, big respect to everybody in the industry. That I mean, I know you come into the industry from another industry and you do love it, don't you? Because a lot of people go into hairdressing and we call them sort of hair groupies, and they do love it because it's got an incredible buzz, and that's why I think, you know, the salon space is a safe space. So tell me a little bit about what you're doing. I mean, let's speak specifically now, because it's so good to have somebody. I mean, why do you think statistically, and you've done a lot of work now with quite prominent people like Gary Neville, other
Yeah.
sort of footballers
Michael,
who
do
have
you
been
agree?
brave enough to talk about the pressure that they've been under. You know, if you're at top flight football, well, we know for a fact, you know, how stressful it can be. There was the guy, Gary Speed, manager of Wales, who took his own life. There's been quite a lot of kind of incidences within the world of football. Now, we know that men, suicide is the biggest killer of men under 45. I mean, that's a fact, and it's very distressing to anybody who's been around that sort of tragedy. Why do you think that is? What are you doing to make it better? What is it about men? You know, why are men, you know, going under?
Yeah, that's it. It's been a problem for men for many, many years now. And in the world of mental health, you're never going to have an absolute reason. Like, how could you? You look at the data, it's thoughts, feelings, emotions, behaviors, and people hide it, especially men. But one of the trends that has come out of that is that men keep stuff in. You know, we don't feel as comfortable showing emotion, getting upset, talking, sharing. So regardless of how someone chooses to identify in terms of gender, it shows that keeping stuff in, keeping it to yourself, can result in crisis. So that's one of the trends that's come out of it. We need to clear and share our heads and understand these struggles and, you know, get that support. Keeping it in, it's just going to probably get worse. Some people find their way through, but some people don't. And also for men, you know, upbringing still plays a part. Right. It was only about 6 months ago, I was walking back from the local shop, Sainsbury's over the road. There was a young toddler, young lad. He'd, like, I think he was 4 or 5. He'd fell over, hurt his leg, he was crying. And Mum was saying this. Now, there's no judgment, I get it. But Mum was saying, come on, be a big brave boy, don't cry. Now, that could teach that young lad. I get rewarded by Mum, suppress emotion, and now I'm shaping what bravery looks like, which is to keep it in. So
that's a very good point. That's kind of reinforcing a stereotype that we need to smash through.
Absolutely, and that's part of my passion. You know, I've had a couple of professional cage fights, a supposedly tough thing to do. I cry on a regular basis. I have to clear my head. I have to talk to my partner. It doesn't matter if you're a boxer, a ballet dancer, whatever you're into. You need to talk about this stuff. You need to realise that there should be no stigma, no judgment, more awareness, and just get it out, because we're all going to go through stuff in life.
Well, that's really true. I mean, you say that. One of the good, interesting things about you, if you do have a background in sort of fitness, fighting, and I guess, you know, what we're saying is these are seen as traditionally macho sort of things, you know, and for someone like you to be able to say, but I might look like this, I might have these credentials, but I've had a hell of a lot of issues too.
Yeah.
It's kind of reinforcing that, you know, one sort of case doesn't fit all. You can't judge a book by a cover, you know, and I think a lot of men think they've got to man up. Well, we've got those phrases, you know, man up, grow a pair, just get on with it. And in fact, it's incredibly pressurized to do that, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Those kind of statements have killed men and are killing men, you know, feeling like you've got to man up and keep it in.
Yeah.
That's, you know, had a horrific effect on some people's mental health. And it's surprising because now there's more awareness. Now people are more open to talking about this stuff. For example, in the world of fighting, you know, you've got Tyson Fury, heavyweight champion, who's openly shared his journey. Now more people in that world are coming forward. And what I'm finding is so many people have struggled, because you find that someone's found fighting or combat sport for a reason. I mean, like, what would you want to get punched in the face? Surely you'd take up something nicer like golf. Often people have been into that world, have gone into that world because there's a frustration, or they need to channel this difficult emotion. So lots and lots of my friends have been through or going through something, who box or cage fight or do some form of combat.
Well, that's very, very interesting, because you were the person that made me aware. We have a lot of, we don't have enough actually, in my opinion, time to look at self-harm on the courses that we deliver. But I remember talking to you and running courses with you about this horrific area of self-harm, which is growing. And, you know, in the hair industry, when I run courses, obviously some hairdressers are aware of the fact that, you know, we understand that the hair is often an area where people will realize there's some self-harm. It's difficult because if somebody's got some hair loss, it could be alopecia, it could be chemotherapy treatment. You've got to be very aware of that. But we know that, you know, people will pull out their hair, eyelashes, eyebrows. Now, when I was talking to you about this, you said to me, well, a lot of people will get into the ring. And I was quite shocked by this, but it follows on from what you've just said there. And you said some people take combat sport, I can call it that. It is as a kind of self-harm method. And when I share that knowledge with people on courses, they're like me, they're really taken aback. So tell me a little bit about how that works. Does that release some sense of mental anguish by taking a pummeling, or you know?
I can only talk about my own lived experience. I didn't know I used to self-harm, and I did the course that you teach, the mental health first aid. So in my 20s, when I was struggling with my mental health, I didn't know about mental health, mental illness. You know, I'd go to sparring or boxing, and I just wouldn't really defend myself. You know, I'd get beat up, I'd get battered around.
Even though you had the ability to fight back.
Yeah, that's it. And it was self-harm, or a self-harming behaviour and method, because my intention was to cause self-injury or self-harm. That probably accounts for 5% of the time I've been combat sport. The other 95% is because I enjoy it. So it's not as evident as out there in the wider population with, it's cutting and burning. It depends. Even tattoos have been recorded as a method of self-harm.
Yeah, we've discussed this with members, and exactly. And can you explain then, because it's happened to you, so we respect that, and it's only, as you say, your personal lived experience, because I think we have to be hugely aware of self-harm. It's something that salon owners might encounter amongst staff or clients. What does people who haven't got any background or understanding will not understand it? So tell us, what relief does it bring you then to, when you said elect to kind of take the punches? How does that make you, when you're in that mental state, feel better? How does it work?
Well, there's lots of different reasons someone might adopt a self-harming behaviour. You know, it could be a level of control. I can't control something that's going on for me, but I can control this.
Right.
It could be like processing an inner scream. You know, I can't understand this difficult emotion. I've got to get it out. And that's what it was for me. The frustration from having what I now know to be obsessive compulsive disorder. I just needed to get this emotion out. So it's like that inner scream outwards. Some people, I want to feel something. I feel numb. And by involving myself in some self-harming behaviour or method, I'm feeling something. So there's lots of different reasons.
I can relate to that. I can relate to what you said. It's very interesting hearing it, because it's something that we don't have enough knowledge about. But when you're very depressed and you're very anxious and low, you do feel very numb and frozen.
Yeah.
You become emotionless, and as you say, to feel something gives you a sense of normality.
That's it. People assume that someone low is, feeling sad, looking tired, crying all the time, but there can be that detachment from reality. I don't feel sad, but the things I used to enjoy, nothing. I'm just numb. So there's such a range of emotion that goes with this stuff, and the general public, using that term broadly, some people still think, well, it's feeling sad. And it isn't. It could be anything and everything, because we're all different. And add to that, we hide it with a mask.
Yeah.
You could see someone with a smile on their face, immaculately turned out, high energy, tenacious, doing great at work, emailing at midnight, 1, 2 in the morning, fun to be around, and they could be depressed.
Oh God, yeah. Mental health is an area where you make no assumptions.
No,
and it knows no there's no barriers in terms of, it's not helped by, you could be very wealthy, you could be very successful. It doesn't discriminate.
It does not.
It's obvious that people who have very little, you might be homeless, jobless, and in very dire straits, you're more likely to have mental health problems as a result of your circumstances. But we've all known people, and a lot of celebrities, it's been well documented, who from the outside have it all.
That's it.
But feel
our own perception. Things mean different things to us. So it doesn't matter if you're a millionaire,
No.
It doesn't matter if you've got very little. It's like you said, the circumstances and what that means to me, my window on the world around all this stuff.
It's that. So you're using your MMA background. So for the people who might not know that, that's mixed martial arts. So you're using that now as in a very positive way. You've talked about, it's great because you gave a figure there, which is interesting. Fortunately, 95% of the time, you do that on a high and for a great reason because you love it. You've talked openly and honestly, and I think it will help a lot of people understand self-harm about why you've done it for other reasons. But you've had success in the past, and now you're training for a big fight, and you're raising mental health funds for mental health. So tell us about your success in the past. Would people have known you? Would you have been? Are you a big name in the world of MMA?
I'm not, Claire. And you know what? The fight I won isn't anywhere to be seen other than on my phone. And the one I lost is on YouTube. That's typical, isn't it?
Oh, right, okay.
And then I've boxed as well, which is somewhere. So, not a great record. 2 professional fights, won one, lost one. This is boxing on the 26th of March.
This is boxing. And what weight are you going in at?
Well, I was going to go in at 80, but I'm doing all right. I'm at 78 kilos. So I'm going to go at 75 kilos now.
Which puts you at what weight? What do they call that? Welter?
It's just weight to weight for this show.
Right,
so they match you up on experience and weight, make sure it's a fair fight, and that's how they match you. So, 26th of March in Ashby, raising money for 2 fantastic causes. One is called Mental Mate. They're a local charity who raise money and pay for people to have counselling, because we know that if you were to go to your GP and say need counselling, you're on that wait list for 8, 12, 50, 20 weeks. So they pay for people to access private counselling.
Fantastic.
Really good. They do loads of things in the community.
And what are they called again, Ryan? Just to a second.
Mental Mate.
Okay, and they're unique to your area, or is it a national charity? Or
it's unique to Leicestershire, but they are growing. They started very local and they're expanding and getting bigger because people value what they do. Yeah,
that's a great charity. Yeah,
it is. They're great. Chloe, who kind of leads that, pleasure to work with. And then also we are Hummingbird. They're national. They were leading mental health support in the music industry, and they raise money and buy children musical instruments, recognising the therapeutic power of music.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So it's worth getting your face punched in for, Claire, those 2 charities.
Well, are you expected to? What's the expected outcome of this fight? Are you hot favourite in the ring?
I don't know. I should probably give it large here and say, I'm going to knock him out. But as you know what, win or lose, I want to raise as much money as possible. So I'm going to go in and do my best. I'm 41 now, Claire. I'm getting sick of being beat up by 20-year-olds.
But the thing is, you're not just raising the cash, are you? I mean, because you've got a large sort of following and so on, you've become quite a go-to guy because of your honesty about mental health. I mean, the fight's raising the profile of those 2 charities. I mean, I'm very interested in Hummingbird. I mean, that's when you say that's specifically working with children, then they give the musical instruments to children.
They do. That's what they predominantly do with the money they raise, because they noticed that a great coping strategy is music. You can influence your mood with music. If you're feeling down, we've probably got that song we put on to lift our spirits. Yeah. We've probably all got that song we put on when we're angry. So you can influence the mood with music, and they encourage children to get involved and learn an instrument.
Learn an instrument and channel it in there. Well, that's it's kind of channeling it, isn't it, into something that's productive and creative and ultimately rewarding.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the fact then that obviously, as well as working as a trainer, other opportunities are coming to you because your profile is growing, and I'm interested to talk to you if you can talk a little bit about this project. I don't know, is the project you're coming to do that we can talk about? You're working on a podcast. Yeah. So I mean, one thing that's very interesting, you've got one of the reasons I love working with you, and I steal all your ideas and stuff, is that you've always got and people love these. We know they do. They love stats and figures. And you're a great man for this industry has the highest this industry has the highest that kind of thing. And we know that it's very interesting that obviously barbers have been instrumental in galvanizing the support that's been given to their clients. I'm just going to admit Ramsey. So yeah, I mean, it's great that you're doing a lot to raise the profile. But you've got an interesting fact, haven't you? I mean, I think it's quite well known that some years ago, one of the highest problems for men, and one of the industries where they had a big suicide rate, was the construction industry. Am I right?
You're right. 2019, the construction industry had the highest percentage of suicide.
Yeah.
Which, might surprise some people, because you think that's this, I don't know, supposedly strong, out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it shows that environment can be quite toxic, because how likely previously on a building site would you find people working there go, oh, how are you feeling today? How's your emotions? When did you cry last? Like, it was less likely or accepted. So that masking up, putting the guard up, and suppression.
Just what we've been talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, one thing that has been amazing about the construction industry, and this just goes to show how if you get on board, you get the training, you get the help, they've tackled that in the last few years brilliantly, haven't they? There's been a sustained effort within the industry. We know for that as trainers. They're training. They've been going for it hell for leather with training their teams and construction workers to be mental health first aiders. So they are no longer in that role, but it's still a massive thing. And as I say, it was brought to light with the construction industry. So tell me about something very interesting. Great. I want to herald them. And as I say, along with barbers who are doing a great job, and lots of other industries. I mean, we work with some incredible companies, don't we, Ryan, across a massive sector.
Yeah.
But you're doing something interesting within the construction industry still, aren't you? Tell us a little bit about a new exciting project you're doing.
Yeah, it's a new project. I don't know if I can name them. It's the leading social platform for construction and people in manual work.
Yeah.
And I'm hosting 8 podcasts in a studio with different experts. We're going to bring in an anxiety expert and an expert on depression or schizophrenia, and I'll interview them and then create snippets and videos and release them onto this social platform with 5 million plus followers. So what a great opportunity to really get that message out there to people that mental health, we've all got it. We all might struggle, and it's okay to talk about your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, because keeping it in is more likely to result in crisis.
Well, I mean, aside from that, Ryan, what the figures we've just given, you bravo to the construction industry, because they acknowledged it, they dealt with it, they got the training, and now they're not sitting at the top anymore. It just proves that if you invest in your team and you invest in the training, it's going to have a positive effect. We
saw that trend with the other industries as well that were high risk. As soon as they realised that mental health and well-being was suffering in the industry, they put loads of support in, mental health first aid, well-being initiatives, and then suddenly they drop out of the top 10. So it shows the effect, the positive effect that having the right support from someone who's trained has on the well-being of staff.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, going back to what you do, and Jamie, all credit to you working as a team, you've told us very interestingly, and I'll recap because we've got some other people sort of joining us. You've told us interestingly about how you have open conversations on a regular basis with your staff. How are you feeling? You can't say fine, okay, or not too bad. Tell me honestly, open up. But you're doing a lot more, aren't you, as a salon? I mean, you're having these fantastic supportive and open conversations. You're a trained mental health first aider. Other people in the team mental health first aiders? Yeah,
that's right. We put all of our team through the mental health first aid course.
Amazing.
Which, is welcome, because it's an empowering course. Like I say, it's not a somber,
brilliant
spoke
course
about these topics. It's like, I'm having these conversations anyway, and now I feel better equipped. But the idea with Meraki in Ashby is that it will double up in the evening and offer well-being strategies. So well-being salon offering Wim Hof breathing, breathology, yin yoga, meditation, mindfulness, and even we're going to start teaching some, couple of hour in-person webinars on things people really want to know and are asking about, like anxiety, and how do I support with a panic attack, and where do I send people and signpost them to. So we want to support the community with regards to mental health and wellbeing, and it's been so well received.
Has it?
Really grateful. It has, yeah. The uptake, it's grown and grown and grown to the point where we need to put on more Wim Hof classes and more yoga, and it's becoming a bit of a hub, a wellbeing hub.
Which is really what you envisaged and you wanted, Ryan, isn't it, when you started this? And I think you're ahead of the curve here and ahead of the game, because I know a couple of sort of salons, hair centres in London are doing similar things, but we're offering more as as we should be. We're offering more as conscientious, caring salon owners than just giving a wash and blow or whatever, or a colour. As you say, it starts with the fact that behind the chair, so many stylists are kind of supporters and counsellors for their clients. But now you can actually say to them, well, we've got these sessions, because it's critical, isn't it, to sort of look after your own well-being.
It is. It's absolutely vital. It's a little bit like when you go on a holiday on an aeroplane, and they do those safety messages, and they say the exit's here and here. They say, put your oxygen mask on before you try to apply anyone else's. You've got to recognise your needs, keep that safe space, those boundaries, and there's ways of doing that and still being able to support someone. Yeah.
You're only as good as you as you say. You can't pour from an empty cup. So what is it that you found? I mean, have you found somebody that's come in? You've come fresh eyes to the. Jamie's just said that after the MHFA course that she's done, it's great to be able to support staff, and that's an important thing as well. We talked about supporting your clients, but you're only as good in this industry. You're only as good as your team. You're only as good as your team.
And it's worth mentioning at that point, Claire, that when I was sectioned almost a year ago now, it was in March, it was actually Jamie that applied the mental health first aid and saved my life.
So tell us about that, Ryan, because you often reference that, and so it's not that when we first met, it was a much sort of shorter time frame that had happened. But you've had a history of OCD issues, which dates back to when you were, I think you said to me, 12, really.
Yeah, as far back as I can remember.
So and that runs in your family.
It does, yeah.
Which we know in mental health conditions can be quite a relevant fact. So you've battled with that. And then how did that sort of translate as you got older? Did you develop other kind of conditions that made you feel even worse and exacerbated how you were feeling?
Yeah, I mean, it went in kind of swings and roundabouts. There'd be periods of it where it's horrific, and then it'd kind of fall by the wayside and everything would be okay, but then it'd come back in waves. And one of the significant factors that led to the crisis that I went through was I went sober on my 40th birthday. I thought, brilliant, let's get healthy. I'm 40 now. Let's start looking after myself a bit more.
And were you a big drinker?
You know what? I didn't consider that I was, but I've probably been having a few drinks at the weekend for 20 plus years, just not really getting drunk or binge drinking, but have a glass of wine, decompress, have a couple of beers. I've been doing that for a while, and I didn't realise that had become a coping strategy for my mental health. So suddenly removing that, I didn't consider that my mental illness was going to take a knock. And 1% at a time, it crept in through the back door until the point when I was really, really unwell. And even having this great network, even teaching this, my own head said, don't tell anyone you're struggling. You teach this. They'll think you're no good at your job. Keep it in, suppress it. And thankfully, Jamie kept reaching out. She was patient. She was persistent. She was kind. And she asked the question one night, clearly and directly, which we know is the right thing to do. You look really tired. Are you feeling suicidal? And that was it. I just opened up with all this stuff. And I think it was about 4 days later, I was sectioned under the Mental Health Act. Now, she hadn't had that conversation using the mental health first aid skills and tools, or maybe, let's say she hadn't done that course and she made it worse and said something like, well, you've got this in your life. Life's great. Why do you feel that way? Which we know can add a layer of guilt.
And people, again, Ryan, I say this again, people say that from a place of good intention, but it's not. That's why the training is vital. It's actually the wrong thing to say.
Yeah.
Totally. But and I mean, what I think, I don't know if you've always done it then as a trainer, because I've only worked with you since you were sectioned, but both you and I now, I don't try and mask the fact that I've had sort of, you know, anxiety, I've had depression, I lost a brother to suicide. I think through talking about that, through sharing it, I think I like to say we get amazing feedback on our courses. Yeah. And one of the feedbacks that we both get is that these people are so real and open and honest. They help me share. We don't run courses, do we, where people don't speak to us?
Absolutely not. No, we want people, if they feel comfortable, to open up and share, and they always do. And it's such a privilege to be in that position where people have shared stuff they've never shared with anyone because they felt so comfortable to do so. And that's it. It is normal. It is usual. We want to make this a fluid conversation where people can say, I've had this struggle, I've been through this is what it felt like. And yeah, that's the feedback, you know, you and I both get. It makes it personable. It makes it real and usable.
It makes it engaging. They want to listen. They want to get involved. And I mean, we've worked with some, we talk about macho culture. We've done jobs together in kind of semi-construction industries, haven't we? And we've watched people who you would never assume in a million years, given the kind of look, how they are, the job, who come to speak to us afterwards and said, this is what's happened to me, and thank you.
That's it.
You just can't judge a book by a cover. I've been staggered when I've worked with you in some of the environments we've gone into, what people have told us. You don't know what I know it's become a bit of a social media cliche, but you don't know what's going on in someone's life. So, I mean, you know, let's try and be a bit kinder, wouldn't you say? I mean, that message seems to have got lost a bit. I mean, it was all #BeKind after Caroline Flack's death. And we have these kind of peaks when it shocks the nation, but then the momentum kind of goes and we all start being a little bit, we need to keep that be kind theory, don't we? And that supportive. We do. That's it. It's more than a hashtag or a t-shirt. You know, we live this day in, day out. The world of mental health it's not periodic. It doesn't end. It's continuous. So people will struggle, sadly, continuously and need that help and support. But kindness is a massive, massive thing. And it was one of the things that kept me alive that day was kindness, just kindness. Yeah. I got took to hospital and I spent 8 hours on my own in a hospital meeting room, psychotic and suicidal, 8 hours. And during that time, I was like, I'm not ill. I'm going to go. I can't be bothered. I'm going to leave. And someone would walk past and spot the signs of distress and just come in and say, are you all right? Anything I can do to help? And someone bought me a coffee. Someone later bought me some food. A nurse I wasn't under the care of popped in and she brought me a phone charger. And that was just kindness, you know, being willing to spot those signs of distress, reach out and say, you don't seem to be doing so good. What can I do to help? What support do you need right now? And after they came to assess me, after the 8 hours, they said, Ryan, your GP's in a different county from this hospital. Another 3 hours being transported to the right hospital. And when I got in front of the team there, they said, well, you haven't tried to kill yourself today, so we're going to let you out. It was because a friend who's a crisis nurse took the call and said, right, put me on the phone to them. They sectioned me immediately. Now, if I hadn't have had that network, that help, that mental health first aider that Jamie is, I wouldn't be here now. And that's scary because a lot of people out there haven't got any of this. No, and that, I mean, I've heard you say this before. I think it's worth reiterating. You really mean that, don't you? You wouldn't be here now. And I can't stress enough, you know, how the MHFA course has transformed the salon. You know, talk about salons, but obviously work with a lot of people. But, you know, I have delegates frequently say to me on the last course I did, which weren't hairdressers, but on a hairdressing course not that long ago, we'd only got to the end of session 2 on the 4 sessions that you teach on the 2-day course. And she said to me, I've put it into action already. Day 2, I sat there, I've got a real issue with a staff member. Previously, I would have done this and it would have been a catastrophe. Now, I stop. I think about the toolkit. I apply it logically. I know what I'm doing. And I go in kind, firm, but with a confidence and knowledge. Yeah. That's the thing you've got to do. And it's no exaggeration to say it's life-changing.
It's life-saving. You know, I've
Life-saving.
felt it firsthand. It's life-changing, life-saving. If you apply CPR as a physical first aider and a person survives, you saved a life. This toolkit that you and I teach, this first aid, it absolutely does work and save lives.
Oh, it does.
Jamie applied it and saved my life. And like I said, we get feedback all the time. I saw someone here, I reached out. I saw someone there, I reached out. And, you know, there's going to be a lot of emotion when these conversations happen, but that's often what the person needs, is just to get it out. And they don't always want to ring the Samaritans. They want to speak to someone face to face. They know, they don't know. Yeah.
And what would you say? I mean, you've come into this world. You've got an incredible backstory yourself. You've got a knowledge of physical first aid as well, mental health first aid. I mean, you're applying some great life experiences and work in the salons you're working with now, at the salon in Ashby. What would you say to other salon owners, you know, who we know that it's needed? Because I'll tell you a little bit why we first started running MHFA courses at Good Salon Guide was because we were fielding more and more and more calls from salon owners, because we're there as a support kind of network. As your membership will buy you sort of, you know, the ability to talk to us about issues within the salon. And more salon owners were saying to us, look, I've really got problems with the mental health of my staff. And we all agreed that you can't just start dishing out advice when you don't really know. So that's why we did the MHFA training, because we thought there's a real need here with salon people. This is pre-pandemic. It's only just got worse. There's an absolute need. It had already been identified with men and barbers, but it's exactly the same for people working in more traditional hair salons. So that's why we did it. And the demand has been huge, and we've met it. What would you say to salon owners who are really worried about, well, I mean, I'm not being, you know, I mean, not just worried in as much as they care and they don't want to see people in distress, but if you've got someone signed off for 8, 9, 10 months because of a mental health illness, it can be very damaging to the health of your business.
Yeah.
And you're a small business. So how can salon owners step up, support? What should they do to ensure that the staff are mentally fit and healthy?
Well, doing this training, you know, would give them a lot of context and ability to be able to do that. Because like you say, if someone's off work for a long period of time, not only will that financially impact the business, put extra stress and strain on the team, that person might want and need to be involved in work as part of their recovery.
Yep.
You know, often what would have done my recovery no good is if I got out of hospital and the GP said, right, Ryan, there's your fit note, 8 weeks off work, and there's some medication that's going to make you feel far worse before you feel better. I needed to be involved in some level of work, because work can give us a purpose, a belonging, social interaction, routine, financial stability. To remove all of that great stuff might be exactly the wrong thing for that person.
Yeah.
But knowing how to support, knowing how to ask, knowing what to suggest, reasonable adjustments as well, all of that stuff we cover as part of the mental health first aid. It's not just these are the conditions and illnesses and that's that. It's how to actually genuinely embed this into your day-to-day work-life culture so it actually adds value ongoing. We cover all of that on the second day. So it's all there, available in mental health first aid.
I'm going to ask Jamie, actually, if she can just say to us, because she's sort of, you know, shared in the chat box that, you know, the course has made an incredible impact to her. You know, she's got 2 salons. She's been a long-term salon owner. She says, you know, we've got more mental health in our team than I ever was aware of until I did the course. So, Jamie, I mean, how have you noticed that your staff have benefited from the training?
In all honesty, before I did this course, I wasn't aware of any mental health issues, problems at all within the staff. After doing the course, they all came on the course with me. It enabled me to be able to have that open, non-judgmental conversation. And through that, you know, there are multiple people within our team that need that bit of help and support, and just being able to support them in the right way, actually, and to be able to see them overcome their struggles some of them quite difficult as well, but seeing them grow, even if they have a setback, they're knowing that they'll message you because that's the way that they want to communicate, and it's just they're letting it out, but they can come to you because they've got no one else to go to at home, and their family don't understand. And it is a safe space for them to come when they come to work. They know that they're safe, they know that they're not judged. I do feel like it helps with that they do come to work because they don't want to stay at home because it's a safer space to be at work. I've learned so much doing that course, honestly. It's the best thing that we did.
I think Jamie made a really excellent point there, Ryan, and very sadly I've encountered this on face-to-face courses that we do. What Jamie said is, I mean, it makes me very sad to think there's people in this position, but some people have nobody else to turn to.
No.
You know, I've taught courses and people have come up to me at the end and said, what more can you do? And I've had to say, well, you know, I'm not a counsellor. I've treated the course, I give them information, I signpost them. And you say, is there anybody at home you can talk to? And the answer's no.
Yeah.
Do you live with flatmates and friends you can talk to? No. And I'll be honest with you, that's really got to me on occasions because I've worked so closely with these people over a 2-day period, and we've got so far, but having mental health first aiders in the workplace, as Jamie just said, they might be the only person that person can go to.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we've all got a group of friends, and if you're...
Well, not everybody. This is the problem, Ryan. I mean, that's what hits me. Some people are very lonely and isolated. Yeah.
But let's say we've got a group of friends. Some of the friends I know I can go to. Yeah. And I get that non-judgmental kind space. But then some of the friends I'll go to, and it'll be come on, mate, you'll be all right. Don't worry about it. So either someone might have no one, or they might have lots of people, but they still can't go to them because they won't react and respond in the right way. And they think, you know what, they're going to make it worse because I've tried to tell them something before. Yeah. So it's that level of understanding within
and having somebody in the workplace.
Of people potentially you have in the world.
And I think, you know, when you say what's hit me going out and teaching this, and I know you've got a great circle of friends. I've got, you know, friends, not all I'd open up to, but there are many people who have got no one, and this is hitting home to me more and more and more. And that's why what we're doing is so vital.
It is.
Well, we've come to sort of a good conclusion point. I think, you know, what we would stress is that I know you are going to be a great advocate in the world of hair for MHFA training, first aid training. We both are hugely we have a huge belief in the value of it, don't we? We've seen it.
We do, yeah.
If anybody else has got a question or they want to post something in the chat box at the side of the question, we'll be happy to answer. The conversation we've had, Ryan, is being recorded. So obviously we will send that out to all good salon guide people. If people have questions for you, or they want to know more about your MMA fight, or they might your boxing match, or they want to sort of support the charities, or generally sort of pick your brains on anything, based on your experience and the longevity with which you've done this, then obviously we're happy to sort of, you know, get in touch with a good salon guide, and we will we'll forward anything that people might want to know to you.
Amazing.
And I know you're always prompt and great at responding. Yeah, so that would be that would be really good. So we're happy to do that, because I think what I like about talking to you, Ryan, and sharing these conversations is that, you know, you've got a lot of knowledge, and you share it willingly, and you share it with great humour, and it's accessible. And I think you're the kind of person. Nicola Cooper's got her hand up, so
digital hand.
I've just got a hand. Nicola, have you got a question?
It was more myself. You know what? Appreciation, guys, on your thoughts and ideas of handling this taboo subject. And I think for me personally, I've worked for big corporates who advocate themselves as being mental health aware, but actually it's just a tick box exercise. But
Right.
now myself being a business owner, and I work with a range of interesting and diverse people, is how do you apply that into a workplace where you're not kind of segregating, you're giving advice, and it actually means something. Because like I said, I've worked for big corporates who they give money to charity and they've got it as a blue tick, it's a badge on their website to say that they're mental health advocates, when actually they're not. Right. They do nothing to care for that. But like I said, me being a business owner now, and I work with a range of beautiful and amazing people, but how do you bring that to the forefront in a workplace where it's accepted, if that makes sense?
Yeah, it makes extreme sense, because what you've just said there is what we're still battling against. I said at the beginning, it's very easy to think with lots of celebrities, lots of royals, lots of, Gary Neville's and the podcast and people doing awesome things. We're kind of at a point where I think, do you know what? This is becoming non-taboo. Yeah, it's okay. Everybody's talking about it. It's great. But it's still a major issue, and there's companies that don't address it yet. And as you've said, perhaps there are companies that feel they're addressing it, but are actually getting to the grassroots. And all I can say based on that is the best thing that they can do is invest in the MHFA training, because in our experience, actually training the workforce to look out for each other, to spot the signs, is the most easy to execute and effective route. What do you say to that, Ryan?
Yeah, I think it's a great point. Some companies just want to demonstrate their corporate responsibility.
Yeah.
They might have an EAP or they'll put something on, but actually it's not coming from the top down, and it really needs to. So it's an actual part of workplace culture. You remember that first banking advert we had about mental health, Lloyd's TSB? And everyone was kind of shocked. So like, oh, Lloyd's TSB, a bank talking about mental health. And that's because the CEO went through a level of depression. And once they'd felt that, they were like, the light bulb switched on. This is something my staff might go through. So you are fighting against the tide if it's not driven from the top down. But like you say, if you train a cohort of mental health first aiders, and often you'll have volunteers, day in, day out, they will be pushing this forward and trying to make sure that the message gets across. And you'll change that culture over time, that the people, the senior manager, the upper levels have to listen. They have to get on board genuinely, not just, let's put this day on, let's raise a bit of awareness, and that's that. Because that's not enough.
That's tokenism. That's just tokenism. I agree.
It's the aftercare as well. It's like, just because you're an advocate of mental health, actually, what are you putting into place? What is the aftercare?
What are you actually doing?
Yeah, exactly. What are you doing for the people? What are you doing for your staff? And for me, my question is, what is MFHM training? And I'd like to know more about it so I can apply it into
your work. Well, the MHFA training is the Mental Health First Aid England is an organisation that's been around for many years, and what it delivers is exactly what it says: an approved, appropriate, professional level of training you as if you would be a physical first aider. It trains you over a 2-day course to become a mental health first aider. So in exactly the way you deliver physical first aid, you'll be able to deliver mental health. It doesn't make you a psychiatrist, a psychologist, or a counsellor. I think we need to be very clear about that. The idea of it is that you spot the signs early. If you spot the signs of mental ill health early, and you have the courage and conviction, because you've had the training, to get in and do something, we know that early intervention is critical.
So as a business owner, how would you approach that? How would you get in touch with someone like
Ryan and myself, Ryan can help you there, because Ryan is a fully accredited MHFA trainer. He runs many courses. If you are you a sole business owner? So I can help you. I can email you. You can give me, we've got a course starting, an online course starting next Monday. So we run courses at Good Salon Guide, not just for hairdressers, but we periodically run courses where we get sole independence saying, can we jump on this course? Because, you know, Ryan and I often go into big companies and they're sort of paying us, they're training up to 300 people, aren't they, Ryan, over a period of time? But we run courses where we say, look, if you want to join us, feel free. And I think what I'll say to you is if you join a course of hairdressers, you'll have a brilliant time, because the hair community is like no other. I mean, they're so fantastically warm and sharing. So if you're interested, you know, just give me an email and we can tell you the next course dates that we have coming, and you'd be welcome to join us on those.
Do you guys have a website? Where would we go to?
Yeah, let me, I'm going to type a message here for you. And here in there, can you see in the chat box, I've put my email address just down there on the side. So if you email me, I can give you all the details of the next course that starts next Monday. So, and we run them in evenings, because obviously salon guys are on the floor most days, as are a lot of sort of sole independent business owners. So we'd be happy to embrace you and give you the training on one of the courses that we run. Because obviously if you're not, you know, you're not organising a big group, then that might be the way forward for you. Online is a great way to learn, isn't it, Ryan? Because you're in the beauty of your own home. You get in the evening, you sit down, it's there in front of you on the screen. The way it's delivered, there's fantastic breakout rooms and so on. You get the full benefit. You're just not sitting in a classroom. I mean, it came a lot to the fore, didn't it, Ryan, during the pandemic?
Yeah. It was face-to-face, and then the adapted material, because it's recognised by the Department of Health, and you have to deliver it via Teams, WebEx, Zoom, you know, whatever online platform. So we are delivering face-to-face. I taught at the top of the Shard about 3 weeks ago, face-to-face, which was great. But a lot of people prefer to do it from the comfort of their own home. Yeah.
I mean, it's options, and it's easy to drop into an existing course from the benefit of your own home. But, you know, I mean, obviously, I shouldn't be biased because I've worked with some incredible people in different industries. But I do find that sometimes, you know, that hair people, very warm and giving. You'll have a fantastic welcome from all the other, and they don't know each other. They're, you know, they're independent, different salons, different groups. Jamie wants to add that you know, well, she just says that she's felt it's been empowering and amazing. I think we haven't really mentioned that how brilliant to be the person to support, help, and move somebody forward positively. It's a great feeling yourself. You said that, Ryan, that when we teach, it can be very I find teaching can be quite emotional.
Yeah, it can be, but it's almost like therapy for me as well. You know, helping others. Using what we've learned to help other people. But it makes that struggle, it gives it a purpose, you know. That struggle, that difficulty, I've got a purpose for it now. At least I can try and make someone else's journey less traumatic, less distressing. Yeah,
it's rewarding. Jamie, did you want to add to that?
I think she's popped away.
No worries, but she just said, can I add? And obviously that's great. And yeah, well, I mean, we're available, aren't we, Ryan? Anybody's got any questions for Ryan, feed them through Good Salon Guide. Nicola, you've got my email address there, as has anybody else that wants to avail of that. Email me and I can give you some next course dates, which is great because we've got one coming up, which is good. And you can become a fully qualified mental health first aider on that, and you'll be able to deliver the training yourself. Jamie, you're back. I didn't want to cut you off. Did you want to add anything before we say goodbye?
I do. I just want to say, basic layman's terms, what is and how can I help? I do think the MHFA is the answer to that. It will teach you what mental health is, what people struggle with, and how to help them. So the question, like that, I think it's the first and only step people need to do, to be honest. All businesses, I think just every general person should take this course, but particularly businesses, to help the staff, definitely.
And and I think Ryan can give more accurate information. I know that we think pretty soon, don't we, Ryan, that it's going to be mandatory, it's going to be a legal obligation to
the manifesto's been passed. It's just good old COVID's delayed it. So you've got to have by law a physical first aider in a business. You're going to have by law a mental health first aider, and it's the course we teach that fulfills that, because it's the one that's recognised by the DOH.
That's right, Department of Health. Ryan, I can't thank you enough for giving up so much of your time. I'm a huge fan. Well, we're mutual fans, and
mutual fans of each other, Claire.
We really are, and it's been so. It's been great for me to come to this later in life, to get the rewards of delivering this training to an industry that I really love. And I've worked in hair for way over 20 years in a very different capacity. And to be able to deliver this sort of training to hairdressers has been just fantastic. And, well done to Gareth and all the guys at Good Salon Guide. Absolutely. For pioneering. There's a lot of talk in hairdressing about mental health. And I think Nicola, when she was talking just then, it resonated. It's great to talk, and it's good to talk, and it's good to share, but it's even better to do something actually concrete. There's a lot of sharing and podcasts and chats, and there is. But what we're doing is actually saying, we'll talk and talk and talk. It's great to share, but we're going to give you training to actually get in there and make a difference.
Yeah.
That's why I think we're doing something that I'm so proud of, because we're not just talking the talk, we're doing it. Anyway, Ryan, I'll let you go. Thanks everybody who joined us. And if we hear from you, that'll be terrific. And we'll be sending out this recording to all our members. Anybody else want the recording, just let us know and we can pop it off to them.
And I just want to say thank you for having me on. Thank you for supporting Meraki Hair. We really appreciate it. You're great at what you do, Claire, in the salon world and in the mental health first aid world. And I think the universe aligned us for a reason. So
oh God, I always say that. We found each other. We found each other, and my God, we're making waves. That's a little bit of a hair analogy. We're making waves, but we're doing it our way, aren't we, Ryan, in mental health? And I'm really proud of that, because we're open, honest, we're making it accessible, we're having a laugh, and we're just making it something. I think, I'm proud of the fact that people want to talk to me, and I know they want to talk 100%. To you. So we're just going to keep on doing it, aren't we?
That's it. We'll keep going.
Right. See you all later. Lovely to see you. Bye, everybody. Bye. 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 Bye.